The warning for centuries. The galaxy believed humanity was a quiet race. Earth kept to itself, trading only when needed, never expanding, never threatening. Other empires grew and fought among themselves, but Earth stayed silent. To the great NIGMA Empire, this silence was weakness. They were one of the largest powers in the galaxy, stretching across thousands of systems. They enslaved races, consumed resources, and crushed resistance wherever they found it. Their fleets were feared, their armies unmatched, or so they believed. When their scouts looked at Earth, they saw only one small blue planet with simple humans. To them, it was a tempting prize, but the humans had already spoken once. The first warning came quietly. A human envoy appeared before the Galactic Council, standing calmly in the center of the chamber. His voice was not loud, but it carried across every hall. Do not cross into Sol. Do not test Earth. We do not wish for war. The other empires listened and remained silent, but the NIGMA leaders laughed. To them, Earth's warning was nothing but empty words. Back in their war council, the NIGMA overlords mocked the message. They begged for peace, one of them said with a sneer. They hide behind words because they have no weapons, another added. We are the galaxy's rulers. Let us see what these humans can truly do. Their decision was made. They would send fleets toward Sol, not to destroy Earth immediately, but to humiliate them, to show the galaxy that humanity was powerless. Days later, massive NIGMA fleets began their march. Thousands of ships, black and sharp like blades, pushed into the outer regions of Sol. Their engines lit up the void. On Earth, the people watched the sky with calm faces. Cities continued as normal. Children played, traders worked, soldiers stood at their posts. To the aliens, this calm was strange. Why do they not panic? Their commanders asked. Do they not see death coming? But humanity's silence was not fear. It was patience. At the borders of the solar system, Earth sent a second message. It was brief, only a single line. You were warned, do not proceed. The NIGMA admirals laughed again. To them, it sounded desperate. To them, it sounded like weakness. One admiral raised his hand and ordered the fleet forward. Enough of this game. Let us show these humans what happens when they speak against us. As the armada pushed deeper into Sol, alien scouts began to send reports. Strange energy readings, unnatural structures on moons, odd metallic shapes, moving in asteroid belts. The NIGMA commanders dismissed them. Ruins, mining stations, nothing to fear. But the scouts were not so sure. One small ship slipped close to Earth's orbit. Its scanners detected massive energy signatures from beneath the oceans. The crew gasped as their readings lit up with impossible numbers. What is this? The captain whispered. It cannot be natural. They sent the data back to the fleet. The report showed enormous metallic shapes stretching across the seabed. The numbers suggested warships, thousands, maybe more. The NIGMA admiral tore the report from the officer's hands and laughed. Impossible. If they had such ships, the galaxy would already know. This is a trick. Do not be fooled. The report was deleted. The fleet pressed on, but humanity had already seen them coming, on Earth. In a chamber deep beneath the planet's surface, human leaders stood around a glowing map of Sol. Red dots marked every NIGMA ship. They ignored the warning. One general said quietly, "They have chosen arrogance," another replied. The room was silent for a moment. Then the commander of Earth's defense forces spoke. Then we will give them the answer they asked for. In the void of space, the NIGMA fleets spread out. Their ships surrounded Earth like predators circling prey. Transmit the demand, the admiral ordered. A signal boomed across every human channel. Humans, surrender your world. Bow to the NIGMA Empire. Resist, and we will burn your planet. Billions of humans heard the message, but no one cried out. No one panicked. Instead, Earth responded with only 5 words. Do not say we failed. The admiral slammed his fists against the console. Enough of their riddles. But even as he spoke, his ships began to detect strange movements. Unnatural shifts of gravity, hidden signals. Something was stirring in the dark. The first scout ship suddenly vanished. One moment it was on the screen, the next it was gone, cut apart by something invisible. What happened? The admiral shouted. Unknown, it was destroyed instantly. His officer cried. The fleet fell into uneasy silence. Then, from the deep Pacific, a faint blue light flickered. Alien satellites caught the image. A massive structure, metallic and ancient, moving beneath the water. The NIGMA officers watched in disbelief. It cannot be. Is that a ship? The light grew brighter. More shapes moved beneath the waves. The oceans themselves began to tremble, and for the first time, the NIGMA commanders felt something they had never felt before. Fear, the invasion, the NIGMA fleets pressed forward, their black holes shining against the sun. Thousands of warships filled the void, each one armed with enough firepower to burn countenance. They believed Earth would soon kneel. Inside the flagship, Admiral Koroth smiled proudly. The humans send warnings, but they do nothing. They are cowards. Soon their silence will end, and they will beg. His officers laughed with him. For the NIGMA Empire, conquest was routine. They had destroyed hundreds of worlds before. What was one more? But Earth was not like the others. The fleets entered the orbit of Mars first. NIGMA soldiers gazed at the dusty planet and scoffed. Empty colonies, one said. Worthless rocks, another added. But as their scanners swept across the surface, something caught their attention. Large metallic signatures lay buried under the red soil. Cavernous tunnels stretched for miles, glowing faintly with hidden energy. Sir, there are structures here, an officer reported. Mining stations, nothing more, Admiral Koroth replied. Ignore them, press on. The fleets moved past. Mars, entering the asteroid belt. It was here that the first strange event occurred. A cruiser at the edge of the formation suddenly lost power. Its lights flickered, its engines went dead. Before anyone could respond, the asteroid beside it opened. From within, a massive cannon emerged. One shot of blinding blue light pierced the cruiser, splitting it in half. The fleet froze. What was that? Koroth shouted. A weapon, hidden in the rock. His officer cried. More asteroids shifted. Cavern doors opened, revealing batteries of cannons, dormant for centuries, but now alive. The NIGMA armada fired back, destroying some of the asteroids. But the message was clear. The humans had been preparing. Even the asteroid belt was armed. Koroth clenched his fists. They cannot stop us with tricks. Continue toward Earth. The fleets obeyed, though unease spread through their ranks. On Earth, humanity remained calm. Cities glowed with their lights. Families ate meals. Children played. In streets. To an outside eye, It looked as though no one even cared that an alien armada hovered at their doorstep, but beneath the oceans, mountains, and skies, humanity was not idle. Deep under the Pacific, enormous hangars opened. Water rushed aside as titanic warships stirred, their engines pulsing faintly like beating hearts. In hidden chambers across the moon, old defense grids powered on. From the icy crust of Europa, long slumbering satellites lit up, their sensors locking onto the alien fleet. Humanity was awake. The NIGMA Empire, blind in their arrogance, continued their advance. Scouts moved ahead, slipping into Earth's orbit. Their orders were to map defenses, record weaknesses, and return. But none of them came back. One by one, the scout ships vanished. Sometimes their signals cut off mid-sentence. Sometimes their cameras caught a final flash of blue light before silence. Within hours, a dozen scouts were gone. On the flagship, Karath grew impatient. They are picking off our scouts. I will not be mocked by these humans. He ordered his fleet to broadcast a demand. Across every channel, the voice of the NIGMA Empire thundered. Humans, surrender your planet. Submit to the NIGMA Empire and live. Resist, and we will erase you from the stars. The message echoed across Earth. Billions of humans heard it. Yet the people did not panic. Shops stayed open. Streets stayed full. Families continued their lives as if nothing had happened. And then Earth gave its answer. The reply was short. Calm, terrifying. Do not advance further. Admiral Korath laughed. They still think words will save them. Fools, advance. The fleets tightened formation and moved closer to Earth. But as they crossed the orbit of the moon, their scanners lit up with warnings. Unidentified signals detected. Energy spikes everywhere. They are surrounding us. The alien. Officers panicked as the displays filled with red markers. Ships were rising from the oceans below. Enormous shapes began to break the surface. First one, then another, then hundreds. Colossal warships, black and silver, lifted into the skies, water streaming from their sides. Their engines lit up the night, turning oceans into boiling seas. On the far side of the moon, hidden hangars opened, releasing swarms of drones and gunships. The asteroid belt came alive again, with new cannons locking onto the armada. The humans had warned them once. The humans had warned them twice. Now, there would be no more warnings. On the flagship, Korath's smile vanished. His hands shook as he stared at the endless ships rising from the seas of Earth. They were hiding this, he whispered. The awakening, the oceans boiled. Across Earth, waves split open as colossal shapes rose from the deep. Warships of impossible size, black steel dripping with water, engines burning with blue fire. One by one, they emerged hundreds, then thousands, then tens of thousands above the Pacific. The sky darkened under their shadows. From orbit, the NIMAG soldiers watched in terror. Their scanners filled with impossible readings, energy levels higher than anything in their records, hulls larger than entire cities. This cannot be real, one officer whispered. No world could hide such a fleet. Another STAMMERED, but the truth was before their eyes. Humanity had awakened on the moon. Ancient silos opened. Swarms of drones streaked into space, wings of light flashing as they formed into attack. Patterns. Old cannons hidden beneath craters powered on, their barrels glowing as they locked onto the invaders. In the asteroid belt, huge platforms unfolded, revealing railguns, that hummed with deadly energy. Their targets, the NIGMA fleets, the Sol system itself, had become a fortress. Inside the flagship, Admiral Koroth tried to keep control, but his voice shook. "Do not fear them. We outnumber them. Fire at will." The order spread across the NIGMA Armada. Thousands of alien ships unleashed their fury. Beams of plasma, missiles, and rail slugs lit up the void, converging on the rising human fleet. Explosions thundered. The galaxy held its breath, but when the fire cleared, the humans were untouched. Their shields shimmered like water, bending and absorbing the storm. Their engines burned brighter. Their cannons began to glow. The silence that followed was worse than the attack. Then, without haste, a single human warship fired. One beam of pure white light cut across the void. It struck a NIGMA dreadnoughter, massive ship 3 kilometers long, armed with weapons enough to conquer worlds. The dreadnought did not resist. It did not survive. It simply vanished, erased in an instant. The NIGMA fleet fell silent. "One shot," an officer whispered. "They destroyed it with one shot." Fear rippled through the Armada from the command chamber deep beneath Earth. Human leaders stood calmly around a holographic map. Red dots marked the NIGMA fleet. Blue dots, the human fleet multiplied with every passing minute as more ships rose from the oceans. One general spoke quietly. "They wanted proof of our strength. Let us give it." Another nodded. "Begin controlled engagement. No mercy, no chaos. Precision only." The second volley came. This time, a dozen human ships fired together in perfect silence. 12 beams lanced outward. 12 NIGMA cruisers exploded at once, their wreckage scattering across orbit. The galaxy, watching the live broadcasts, gasped in disbelief. Entire fleets that once ruled the stars were falling like children before humanity's hand. Panic spread. Among the NIGMA retreat, some captains shouted, "No, press forward." Overwhelm them with numbers. Others screamed, but numbers did not matter. Human fleets moved like predators, each strike calculated, each ship in flawless formation. Drones swarmed alien vessels, cutting off engines and shredding shields. Massive carriers deployed pulse waves that fried entire squadrons in seconds. It was not a battle. It was a lesson. On the flagship, Admiral Koroth's confidence shattered. Sweat poured down his face. His voice trembled as he barked orders that no one followed. His officers stared at their screens in horror as ship after ship vanished. They planned this," one officer whispered. "They were waiting for us all along." Koroth slammed his fists against the console. No, they were supposed to be weak. They were supposed to fall. But deep inside, he knew the truth. The warnings had not been empty words. They had been mercy. Then came the second human broadcast. A calm voice, clear across every channel, every ship, every world. "You ignored the warning. This is our answer." The galaxy froze. Billions of aliens on distant worlds heard the voice. Some wept in fear. Others bowed their heads in silence. Elder races whispered to their children, "This is why there was peace. This is why no one touched Earth." Now the smile of humanity is gone. Above Earth, the fleets continued their slow, methodical strikes. Human warships did not rush. They did not rage. They fought with precision, like surgeons cutting away infection. Each volley destroyed dozens of NIGMA ships. Each drone squadron crippled alien formations. Each strike was measured calm. merciless, inevitable. The NIGMA Empire, once so arrogant, was reduced to chaos. Ships scattered. Captains begged for orders. Soldiers screamed in panic. But there was no escape. Humanity had closed the circle. The Wratha. Battle no longer looked like a war. It looked like a storm. Human warships moved through the void with calm precision, their weapons cutting down the NIGMA fleets one by one. Each strike was measured. Each volley was exact. There was no waste, no chaos, and that was what terrified the galaxy most. This was not rage. This was not revenge. This was wrath. The NIGMA Empire had always prided itself on discipline, but their fleets now collapsed in panic. Ships collided as captains shouted contradictory orders. Squadrons broke apart as drones tore through their formations. From the flagship, Admiral Korath screamed, "Hold the line. We are the NIGMA Empire. We cannot fall to one world." But even as he shouted, his ships vanished. Dozens destroyed in perfect rhythm, like humanity was conducting an orchestra of destruction. In Earth's hidden command chamber, human leaders stood silently, watching the holographic map of Sol. Red markers for the NIGMA fleets blinked out, one after another. A general spoke softly. "They called our warning empty. Let them see what empty means now." Another replied, "Continue controlled fire. Leave survivors to tell the story." The order spread through the fleets. Humanity would not simply erase the NIGMA armada. They would make an example of it. The second wave began. From the asteroid belt, massive cannons fired, each shot powerful enough to pierce the shields of capital ships. NIGMA cruisers shattered into fragments. Their escape pods were swallowed by human drones, captured rather than destroyed. From Earth's oceans, even more ships rose, their hulls dripping with salt water. The sky turned black with their shadows. From the far edge of Sol, weapons hidden for centuries came alive. The Halo defense arrayed thousands of satellites lit up the void. Their beams lanced outward, tearing through NIGMA destroyers as if they were made of glass. The NIGMA fleet tried to retaliate. They unleashed their heaviest barrages, their most powerful cannons, their deadliest missiles, but every shot was intercepted. Human drones swarmed like wasps, detonating warheads before they reached their targets. Shields absorbed the rest. The NIGMA admirals realized, too late, that humanity had not built ships to fight fairly. They had built them to end wars instantly. The broadcasts continued across the galaxy. Billions of aliens watched the destruction in silence. Some fell to their knees, whispering prayers. Others turned away, unable to watch as the proud NIGMA armada was reduced to fire and wreckage. The elder races only shook their heads. They had always warned of this day. On the battlefield, humanity continued with chilling control. One human warship, towering and ancient, fired a single round that bent space itself. The ripple erased 3 NIGMA battleships in one instant. Another unleashed a pulse wave that disabled shields across an entire squadron, leaving them helpless as drones swarmed in to disable engines and weapons. It was not war, it was judgment, delivered with silence. Inside the flagship, Korath's pride finally shattered. He stared at the burning wreckage of his fleets, his voice barely a whisper. We were warned, and we laughed. His officers trembled. Some begged to surrender. Others froze in despair. The might of the NIGMA Empire, built over centuries, was falling in hours then. Humanity broadcast again. The same calm voice filled every ship, every station, every world. This is the price of arrogance. This is the cost of ignoring Earth. The words echoed louder than any weapon. Panic spread across the galaxy. Merchants abandoned trade routes. Colonists fled outposts near human space. Armies on distant worlds stood down, their leaders realizing they could never challenge such power. The NIGMA Empire, once feared above all others, now became the symbol of a lesson, a warning carved in fire. But humanity did not stop immediately. They pressed the fleets harder, surrounding the survivors, cutting off every route. Escape was impossible. Admiral Korath fell to his knees. His hands shook as he whispered to himself, "Forgive us, we did not believe." On Earth, the human commander stood with folded arms, his expression calm, his eyes cold. He gave the order in a steady voice. No further warnings. Strike. The final wave began. Human fleets fired in perfect unison. Beams of light carved through the void. Cannons thundered. Explosions lit the skies above Earth. Entire NIGMA squadrons disappeared in moments. It was not just destruction. It was history ending before the galaxy's eyes. The lesson: the battlefield was silent. The proud fleets of the NIGMA Empire, once feared across thousands of systems, now floated as wreckage in the void. Broken ships burned, their pieces scattering like ashes. Escape pods drifted aimlessly, carrying survivors who trembled in shock, and around them stood the human fleet calm, unshaken, endless. Black warships glowed with quiet power. Drones swarmed like shadows. Defense satellites shimmered across the system. Humanity had shown its wrath, and it had not been rage. It had been precision. It had been control. Inside the flagship of the shattered NIGMA fleet, Admiral Korath knelt on the floor. His once proud uniform was torn, his face pale. His officers stood frozen, their eyes hollow. For the first time in his life, Korath understood defeat. Not the kind where a battle is lost. The kind where an empire realizes it has met something greater than itself. "They warned us," he whispered, "and we did not listen." Then, across every surviving ship, every station, every planet watching from afar, a human broadcast began. The same calm voice spoke, clear, cold, steady. The NIGMA Empire ignored our warning. This is the result. The words echoed across the galaxy, reaching billions. No one dared speak. No one dared breathe. The voice continued, "Humanity does not seek conquest. We do not seek empires. We seek only peace. But peace does not mean weakness. Remember this. We warn once, only once. Ignore that warning, and you will face our answer." The camera shifted. Behind the human speaker, the galaxy saw the endless fleet rows upon rows of warships. Black steel shining against the light of soul. Billions trembled. Entire empires watched and realized the truth. If humanity chose, they could end everything. The elder races bowed their heads. They had always whispered this truth, but now the galaxy had seen it with their own eyes. Back on Earth, ordinary humans lived as though nothing had changed. Children laughed in the streets. Traders sold their goods. Families shared meals. To them, this was not the beginning of war, it was the end of arrogance. For the galaxy, it was a warning carved in fire. The survivors of the NIGMA fleet were allowed to leave. Their ships, broken and scarred, drifted back into hyperspace. No one stopped them, because humanity wanted them to carry the message, to spread the story, to tell every corner of the galaxy what had happened on the flagship. Korath stared at the stars as his vessel limped away. His heart was heavy with shame, his voice hollow as he told his crew, "We will return to NIGMA space. We will tell them what we saw, and we will never forget." His officers nodded silently. Their arrogance was gone. In its place was fear. Across the galaxy, fear spread faster than light. On trading worlds, merchants whispered, "Did you hear? The humans destroyed the NIGMA armada in hours." On colonies, soldiers trembled. They warned once, and then nothing survived. On distant empires, rulers gathered in silence, realizing their power meant nothing before Earth's hidden strength. And on alien homeworlds, children asked their parents, "Why do the humans smile?" Their parents answered, with trembling voices, "They smile because they know. They smile because they do not need to fight unless we force them." In Earth's command chamber, the human leaders stood, watching the last red markers of the NIGMA fleet vanish from the map. One general broke the silence. "Will they dare return?" The commander shook his head. His voice was calm, certain. "No, they will not. Not after this." Another asked, and the others. The empires who watched. The commander's eyes hardened. "They will remember. And if they forget, we will remind them." The galaxy named the event the Wrath of Earth. Historians wrote of how one empire ignored the warning and was broken. Poets spoke of the oceans that rose and the sky that darkened with human ships. Generals studied the battle, only to admit there was no strategy that could match humanity's precision. It was not just a victory, it was a lesson. But humanity did not celebrate the fleet's return to silence. Many warships sank once more into the oceans, others slipped back into asteroid hangars or lunar vaults. The defenses of Sol went quiet again, hidden but never gone. The humans smiled, and the galaxy trembled.